Hello and welcome to Vault Holocron. I'm Jonathan and today we will be discussing the Separatist Council from Attack of the Clones. The Separatist Council were a governing body that acted under the Confederacy of Independent Systems, led by Dooku. They first met together shortly before the Battle of Geonosis in this scene, and if you're like me, you were wondering who these people were, especially as they all had interesting designs and were important to the Separatists. So today I've decided to go through and explain just who these Separatists were.
Their banking clan will sign your treaty.
First I'm going to start with the Viceroy himself, Nute Gunray. Nute Gunray was a Neimoidian from the Trade Federation and was the chairman of the Separatist Council. Gunray held a high position in the Confederacy of Independent Systems and was used many times by the Sith. We see him first in The Phantom Menace, where he is leading a blockade around Naboo, under the orders of Darth Sidious. This led to his arrest, but he avoided punishment after 4 Supreme Court trials. Before we next see him in Attack of the Clones, he has joined the Separatists and pledged military support to their cause for the impending war. In the movie, he is seen by Dooku's side, but his role isn't so big as blockading Naboo. Gunray also had a big role in the Clone Wars, affecting many missions. In one of his efforts, he set a trap on the planet of Rhodia, which had been attacked by pirates. He used their struggles and helplessness to convince the leader to call Padme to the planet, so the Separatists could capture her. The attempt failed though, after Padme and Representative Binks escape, mainly due to Binks being thought to be a Jedi. This led to his arrest again, and he escaped punishment again, after Asajj Ventress extracted him from the transport ship with help from Argius, a guard who betrayed the Republic. He also helped Dooku lure 2 Jedi and some clones into Grievous's lair, by projecting a hologram of himself inside, and he also worked with Bane in acquiring the holocron of the Force-sensitive children. At the end of the war, he met with Grievous on Utapau, where he and the rest of the council were sent to Mustafar before Obi-Wan dropped in and killed the cyborg general.
Hello there.
He later died on Mustafar to Palpatine's new apprentice, Vader. To sum it up, Gunray was a powerful leader of the Separatists, and supported them throughout the entire war, although being a poor fighter and a coward. Next, I'm covering Poggle the Lesser, the Geonosian who oversaw the battle droid factories on Geonosis, and the Separatist Council member who had allowed the group to meet up on his planet. Poggle the Lesser was the Archduke of Geonosis, making him the public leader, and he had a high role in the Confederacy of Independent Systems. He was also a warlord who commanded his droid armies and also his Geonosian armies, which he used in both of the battles on Geonosis. He was a key fighter in the Clone Wars, but was eventually captured and sent to prison on Coruscant after the second battle of Geonosis. On the topic of the second battle of Geonosis, that was actually a really interesting plotline. Poggle, after losing the battle, was revealed to actually only be the public leader, while he himself answered to Karina the Great, the queen of an undead hive mind. I won't get into the story of Karina the Great now though, as I'd say it's more about her than Poggle. Despite hiding with the queen and her undead hive mind, he was still captured and locked up on Coruscant. He was released 2 years later though, to aid in the construction of the Geonosian designed Death Star, secretly for the Republic. However, he later sabotaged the project by causing a riot so that he could escape to the Confederacy of Independent Systems. Poggle later died on Mustafar to Vader at the end of the war. In conclusion, Poggle the Lesser was a massive asset to the Separatists, being willing more than once to run a droid factory and also in fighting off the Jedi. Both of the battles of Geonosis had high casualties for the Republic and cost a lot of Republic resources. The first was especially good for the Separatists as it initiated the awaited war against the Republic, and the second, although not really successful, did drain the Jedi. Now I'm covering Wat Tambor, the Skakoan from the Techno Union. One interesting fact about the Techno Union is that while Wat Tambor had pledged the Techno Union to the Separatist cause, they still publicly declared neutrality, and even had a member in the Galactic Senate. Tambor was the foreman of the Techno Union, and he oversaw the production of droids, weapons, and vehicles for the Confederacy of Independent Systems. In the Clone Wars, he invaded Ryloth and occupied it, causing mass starvation and struggle. The planet also had a blockade around it to prevent the Republic from taking Ryloth back, but while it was good, it wasn't good enough, as Anakin Skywalker still managed to get through. However, Tambor wasn't discouraged by this, and brought his troops all to the stronghold, predicting that the Republic's troops wouldn't be strong enough. However, Dooku had other plans, especially as the Twi'lek resistance would aid the Republic attack, so Tambor prepared to leave the planet and destroy everything on it, to send out a message of the cost of Republic victory. However, Tambor wanted all of the treasures on Ryloth on his ship before leaving, and this cost him greatly, as he was captured and his plans had been foiled. He was then arrested, but this didn't last long, as he was later set free. Later in the Clone Wars, he developed an interest in the clone, Echo, who had been presumed dead by the Jedi. He then used this clone as an algorithm to predict Republic attacks and advances, which worked for a while, giving Admiral Trench many victories. His plans were once again foiled though, when the Bad Batch managed to trace the signal of the algorithm, and then successfully attacked the Separatist facility on Skako Minor. Wat Tambor died at the end of the war, when Darth Vader killed him on Mustafar. To sum it up, Tambor was a big leader, and was really important for the Separatists, even providing many victories for the clone Echo, but his greed was his downfall, as well as underestimating Jedi. Next I'm covering Sanhil, the Mun from the Intergalactic Banking Clan. He was the chairman of the Banking Clan and pledged their support to Confederacy of Independent Systems. Hill wasn't like the three members I've mentioned before, in the way that he wasn't so much a warrior and didn't wish to be on the front lines. His comfort was in closed-door politics and propositions, and he wasn't against conspiring with others with his great influence to get his way. He also had the firm belief that no war could be fought without money, which is in line with his role in the Intergalactic Banking Clan. Sanhil was later killed on Mustafar with the rest of the council. Now I'm covering Shu Mai, the Gossam from the Commerce Guild. She was the president of the Commerce Guild and pledged their allegiance to the Separatists. However, unlike the other members of the council, she was the only one to question joining the Separatists, and if it would be seen as treason. Despite her doubts, Dooku managed to convince her on geonosis, so she joined his cause. She was also obsessed with status and power, which may explain why she ultimately chose to join the Confederacy of Independent Systems. Shu Mai was killed at the end of the Clone Wars on Mustafar with the other Separatist leaders. Next I'm covering Poe Nudo, the Aqualish from Ando, who represented his species. Nudo initially represented his people in the Galactic Senate around the time of the invasion of Naboo, but he later joined the Separatist cause. Nudo was killed at the end of the war by Darth Vader on Mustafar. Now I'm covering Teks, the Quarren from Mon Cala, who represented his species. He was a member of the Senate around the time of the invasion of Naboo, but left to join the Confederacy of Independent Systems, and his place in the Senate was replaced by the Quarren Tundra Dalmea. Teks was killed on Mustafar by Darth Vader at the end of the war. Fun fact, Teks was originally going to be in the Mon Cala arc in the Clone Wars, but didn't fit according to Dave Filoni. He was also apparently planned for the cancelled Season 7, and Filoni provided these sketches you see in the background. Finally, I'm covering this character. They joined the Confederacy of Independent Systems on Geonosis, but was the only member of the Separatist Council to not be present on Utapau or Mustafar at the end of the Clone Wars. This means that their fate is unknown. Also, by the way, the only page for them on Wikipedia is a Legends one, which says they are called Wagua Rodrata, which I think would be the name they were given in canon, but I can't be certain. Just before we finish, I'd like to mention Paso Argente, who actually wasn't present at Geonosis, but had joined the Separatist Council by Revenge of the Sith. He was a Kuriva from the Corporate Alliance, and I'm not going to go further into him now, as he wasn't on Geonosis, so technically shouldn't be in this video. I also missed out Grievous and Dooku, as I didn't feel it was necessary, due to how mainstream and already known they are. Also, there'd be too much to cover for them. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this dive into the Separatist Council on Geonosis, and we hope to see you later at Vault Holocron.